cut off his head.
Okay. Mr. Bruni, do you think of us as your grandkids?
Well, sort of. Actually, you're not quite old enough to be my grandkids. Most of my grandchildren are already grown up and moved away, live in another part of the country. I do have 2 grandchildren that are still at home. I'll tell you what I think of you as. I think of you all. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I think of you as the future of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because you are the future. In a few years, it's going to be up to you to see that all of the things get done that need to be done, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to school now, so you can be ready
For the future.
for the future. So I look at all of you as something very, very precious that we must do everything possible to see that you are prepared. How about that?
Mr. Bruni,
Yes.
I've got a question for you.
All right.
It's gonna be the same question that I asked you in the hallway.
All right. And what was that? About a pet?
Did you have any pets?
Did I have any pets? Well, yes, I always had a dog. Because we lived on a farm and it just seemed a natural thing to have a dog. I also had...
my milk. You also had what?
I also had an old horse that was
Horse?
too old to do any work in the field anymore, and it became my horse, and the name of that poor old horse was Ready.
Ready, set, go.
Just Ready.
Like,
And I would ride
was he
her, but she was so old she couldn't run. She could just walk around.
it'd still be cool.
But she was my, sort of my pet horse that I took care of. So now what?
Anybody else have any questions?
I have another one. This is a very important question because I also have one. If you have one. Did you have a nickname at home? What was it?
My nickname? I did have a nickname.
What was it?
Well, when I was a young boy growing up, I sort of started to grow out kind of tall and thin, skinny.
Like
And so people called me Broomstick.
That didn't make sense.
that's
That's kind of, that's not funny.
yeah, not really funny.
They call him a broomstick. He was
I was kind of tall and skinny.
I think that's kind of insulting.
Broom. Like
The broomstick like you sweep the
like you sweep the floor with, which is only about that big around.
Got
So
that
yes,
right.
they call me Broomstick, and they might have called me other things that I probably don't remember.
Were they mean? Sorry.
And what, you had a question?
Yes.
How was your child life? You know, when you was a kid.
You what?
How was your childhood? You know, when you was a kid, and what do you do?
What did I do?
Yeah, he's saying, what did you do most of your day?
My childhood was totally different than your childhood because I grew up in a time when we didn't have any Oh, we didn't have video games, we didn't have television, we didn't have the neat little cameras like this. We didn't have all that sort of thing.
You know?
We had a radio,
Huh?
and that was all. So, I also lived on a farm. So there was always work to do. There were animals to be taken care of. The chickens had to be fed. The eggs had to be gathered. The pigs had to be fed. The cows had to be fed. There was always work to do. But in our spare time, we made up games to play. We thought up things to do, and we were always outside climbing a tree or digging a cave or building a dam in the creek or doing something
You
that
know,
was
that kind of
fun
sounds
and
like
adventuresome.
that sounds kind of like me and my brother.
Well, you know, you could still do some of those things. We
Yes.
live. This area around here didn't have all these houses that you see now. Most of it was open land. Mhm. So we could go walk through the woods for like hours at a time, and it was so much fun because we got to see all kind of things: rabbits and squirrels and coyotes and
Coyotes?
yeah, oh yeah.
I don't like dogs and I don't like
So
those.
that's what we did when we were kids. Now, for entertainment, we listened to our favorite radio programs, or we read. We read a book. And I always loved to read. And when I went to school here, each classroom had their own little library. And I read just about every book in the library of each classroom because I love to read. Here, this young man had a question.
Did you ever have a favorite book?
A favorite book?
And what was it?
Well, I had a lot of favorite books. One of my favorite books was Black Beauty, which was about a horse. Have you ever read that?
It's an awesome book.
Well, it was a story about a horse, and I enjoyed that. Another favorite book was The Shepherd of the Hills. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
And another favorite book of mine was The Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come.
You know, I think I heard of that.
Hmm?
A kingdom what?
So, I had a lot of favorite books.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, yes.
Speak a little loud, Chase.
I wanted to ask you, did you ever did you ever explore farther beyond the forest?
Did I ever explore? You mean when I was little? Well, we would walk. We would walk several miles away from home in the woods.
Yeah, because I kind of see those in the movies, like, from the old days.
Like,
Yeah.
like the Red Riding Hood.
It was a different world then. First of all, everybody trusted each other. We didn't worry. Right now, your parents probably wouldn't let you go out at night and walk 3 or 4 miles
At night?
to get somewhere at night, would they?
You
No.
did
Down
that?
by a bear.
But we did, because there was not that much danger. There was really not any danger. We had a Boy Scout troop that met here in a little house just almost beside the school here.
The cabin?
And,
Or
well,
was it that one?
it was,
The one behind the
West?
playground?
hmm?
Was it the one behind the playground?
Because there's
No.
just like this little house, and then and it's like all abandoned and stuff.
Well, I think that belongs on somebody else's property. But anyway, we would walk to the scout meetings at night and walk home after dark, and no one worried about us, and we didn't have to worry.
How much hair?
Good up close.
Hang on. You might not feel comfortable about asking this, but, I mean, about answering this, but your fourth daughter, how did she die?
Well, she developed an illness that was called adult respiratory distress syndrome. It was actually an illness that was brought to this country first by some of the veterans of the Vietnamese War. And what happens in this illness, the lungs just
Stop working?
So
And
that's what happened.
and it
Now,
was
I don't want to go into too much detail because that was not a really good part of my life. Because she spent 6 months in the intensive care unit at a hospital. So it was not a really good thing.
I am so sorry for your loss.
Well, thank you.
I've got,
yes, that is so sad.
I've got another question.
Okay.
It's whenever 11 through 18. Did you have a car, and what color was it?
Did I have a car? No, I did not have a car. My family did not have a car. We had an old pickup truck.
Whoa.
That was a 1939 Chevrolet pickup truck. And that's what I learned to drive in. And driving then was different than it is today. Today, you get in a car, you start the car, you put it in one gear and you drive. But
Like-
then you had to push in the clutch, put it in one gear,
Like a stick?
drive. Oh yes, like a stick. Push in the clutch again, let off the gas, shift the gears, let off the clutch, push on the gas, drive a little bit more, push in the clutch, let off the gas, shift the gear, let out the clutch, push in the gas. You had to keep busy all the time.
Man, that's like exercise even by going somewhere.
Well, you kind of had to know what you're doing to drive back then. I learned to drive mostly with trucks and tractors.
I drive a tractor too,
Uh,
by myself.
that's when I got my start driving, was with trucks and a tractor once in a while when I was working for other farmers in the field.
I got a question for you.
But the old pickup truck that we had, I can tell you, was blue. How about that?
Yep.
I got a question for you.
All right.
When you were, what job did you have?
What job did I have? What, when I was a boy growing up, or later?
like your professional life?
What was your first job?
Oh, my first job? Well, now we can go back to my very first job. When I got a job with a farmer
Sorry, if I'm in your face.
plowing corn with a little one-row cultivator and a horse-drawn cultivator. And I would get up every morning and walk to this farmer's house and put the harness on his horse, on the big old horse. Then I'd climb on the horse and ride to the cornfield
Wow.
and hitch the horse up to the plow, the little cultivator plow, and then plow corn. And the little cultivator was just wide enough that it went right between the rows of corn and it would plow all the weeds out. And the horse would walk right down the row between the stalks of corn and we would plow. And when we got to the end of the row, then I had to pull the plow around and turn the horse around and go back again. And I got that job for 35 cents an hour. I later took a job helping a man bale hay, riding on a hay baler that went around the field pulled by a tractor and baled hay. And I poked the wires through and then tied them to hold the bale together. And for that job I was making 55 cents an hour. Now, those were my boyhood jobs. After I left high school and got married, I went downtown and I got a job at a factory.
And is this your third job or your fifth?
Well, it's my first real full-time job. I was about 19 years old. Well, actually, I was 18.
Were your other jobs like chores or something like that?
Well, they were not full-time jobs because once you got the cornfield plowed, the job was over. Once you got the hay all baled, the job was over. They were summertime jobs.
Did you like your jobs?
Did I like my job? Well, not at first because I started at the very bottom in my job. And, but I was very fortunate and didn't work very long before I got a promotion, and then pretty soon I got another promotion. And then pretty soon I got promoted out of the factory and into the office, and from that point on, I liked my job. I worked for the same company for 43 years. And
Got a question.
okay,
Where did you get married at?
where did I get married? Well, now I'm going to reveal to you a great secret. My wife and I ran away. Well, we didn't run very far, but we ran, and I got married in Platte City, Missouri.
Did you go to see the Platte City Water Tower?
No, it wasn't there.
Darn.
But we went to the home of a retired Methodist minister. And I was dressed up in a nice blue suit. And we went in, and I still remember because he had a shaggy white dog. And the dog had laid all over the sofa, and he had us come in and had me sit down on the sofa. And when I left, I noticed that I looked like a shaggy white dog because I had picked up all the dog hair from his sofa. Anyway, that's where I got married. When I got married,
What next?
well, when I went to get married, I had $23 in my pocket and no job. After I got married, I asked the preacher, how much do I owe you? And he said $10. So I paid him $10, and that meant that I started my married life with a beautiful wife and $13 in my pocket,
Not bad.
and no job.
Not bad, actually.
Well,
was $13 a lot in the
today
back then?
it would frighten me out of my mind, but at that time I didn't know the meaning of the word fear. Because you could find a job. You could always find a job.